Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Home Minister Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj brief opposition leaders on standoff with China, explain the government stand on the Kashmir issue at all-party meeting ahead of the monsoon session of Parliament. Major security breach in Uttar Pradesh. Assembly Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath informs members about deadly plastic explosives being found in the house. NIA to be asked to investigate the matter. Wholesale inflation falls to 0.9% in June, the lowest in 8 months. Food inflation drops to 3.47% compared to 2.27% in fall in May. Prices of pulses, vegetables and potatoes register the steepest fall. And Friday prayers stopped at the holy site of Al-Aqsa in the old city of Jerusalem after terrorist attacks. All 3 assailants and 2 Israeli policemen killed in the shootout. Well, Home Minister Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj is briefing opposition leaders on the standoff with China and the situation in Jammu and Kashmir. Leaders of prominent opposition parties have been invited to the meeting. Ahead of the Parliament session that starts on Monday, the government aims to build a consensus on its approach to China and the Kashmir issue. The meeting is aimed at briefing the opposition parties about the situation along the border in Sikkim, where a standoff has been continuing since June. The invitation for the meeting has gone from External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj. Ahead of the monsoon session of Parliament beginning on Monday, the government is seeking to build a consensus on both issues. Well, joining me for a chat right now is our correspondent Akhilesh Suman. Well, Akhilesh, this is an issue that has been plaguing for a while now, and the government would like, the opposition as well as itself to speak in one voice as far as China and Pakistan are concerned. That's why this crucial meeting there taking place.
Yeah, naturally, you know that when Rahul Gandhi met Chinese ambassador, it was very obvious that government should think that if an ambassador, if a foreigner is talking to the Indian political party leader, why not the government should talk to? At the time, when for 1 month stalemate is there in Doklam area nearing China and Bhutan border, and also there is problem in Jammu and Kashmir for a long time. So it was very obvious for government that it should come forward and take the opposition parties in confidence. And you know that before this meeting has gone out, at 11 a.m. in the morning, actually, Arun Jaitley, Rajnath Singh and Sushma Swaraj along with NSA have met at the Rajnath Singh residence, and they have decided how to go about it. Because, you know, that Ajit Doval is going to China for a security advisors meeting of BRICS. And before that, they want to have some voice, some unanimous voice once the parliament is going to start. Because this is the time when Chinese media is threatening every day to India that if India doesn't go back, it might be have to face the war worse than 1962 war. So it is this is the time that the government wanted that there should be no communication gap between opposition and the ruling party. And you know that in such a crucial time in India, there is a tradition to speak in one voice, and that is why the government has taken initiative to call the major opposition parties for this meeting.
You know, another issue on the table, of course, is the Jammu and Kashmir issue, and that has been burning for almost a year now, and that's a situation that the government wants to deal with. And let's not forget, the crucial monsoon session of Parliament is beginning on Monday, and the government ensuring that it reaches out to the opposition so as to ensure there is a smooth functioning of the session.
Yeah, naturally, Jammu Kashmir situation has been boiling for a long time, and not only Jammu Kashmir internal situation, but the relationship with Pakistan has gone to the worst, and there is no dialogue seemingly in the coming time. So this is the time when Chinese have also threatened that if you can go with Bhutan, if China comes with Pakistan in POK, then what will be the situation, and if they do the same as you are doing in the Chinese border. So this is very crucial. These two things are associated with each other. And if you remember that our Army General has told the people and the army people that we should be ready for 2.5 wars. That means China, Pakistan, and also the internal situation. So these are the very crucial moment in Indian history after 1962 war. I think this is the first time that India and China are eyeball to eyeball for such a long time, and Chinese are threatening every day. But you remember, Frank, that it is not very new in Chinese history, because when Soviet Union was in power in Russia, the Chinese and Russian army, so USSR army were eyeball to eyeball for more than a year. So it is Chinese typical style to force the surrounding nations, to force the neighbors for going into border settlement according to their own choice. So India, it seems, that has decided to keep it. It's a stand very clear that India's strategic interest cannot be forfeited, and China has to come to terms with India. Frank.
All right. Akhilesh Suman will have to leave to that. Thank you so much for joining us there with all those details. Now, in a major security breach, a dangerous plastic explosive was found in the Uttar Pradesh Assembly. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath today informed the House about the discovery, which unanimously recommended an NIA probe into it. The Chief Minister said that the white powder was found wrapped in a paper close to the seat of the leader of the opposition, Ram Govind Chaudhary. The explosive was found by the cleaning staff on July 12th, weighing 150 grams. Experts said 500 grams was enough to blow up the house. Yogi Adityanath assured that no compromise will be made on the security of the assembly, which has 403 members. Later, the speaker announced security measures in the house, including installation of whole-body scanners at all the gates and driver verification of all legislators.
नहीं, देखिए, ये चूक है और इसकी जांच होनी चाहिए. इतनी बड़ी चूक नहीं होनी चाहिए. बहुत सेंसिटिव मामला है और इसकी जांच हो भी रही है. माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी इसकी जांच करा रहे हैं.
विधानसभा के अंदर और नेता विपक्ष की कुर्सी के नीचे अगर विस्फोटक कोई चीज मिलती है तो आप इससे अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं कि उत्तर प्रदेश के लॉ एंड ऑर्डर का क्या हाल है.
Wholesale inflation fell to 0.90% in June, the lowest in at least 8 months, as prices of food items softened. Inflation based on the wholesale price index was 2.17% in May 2017. Food inflation fell 3.47% compared with 2.27% fall in May. Inflation in pulses, vegetables and potatoes declined the most. The slowdown in wholesale inflation comes against the backdrop of retail inflation easing to a record low of 1.54% in June. Well, the JDU today asked the RJD to come clean on allegations against Party Minister Tejasvi Yadav with facts and not to display arrogance of having 80 MLAs. Yadav, the son of RJD Supremo Lalu Prasad, is the Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar and has been named by the CBI as an accused in its probe into land for hotels scandal.
The political crisis in Bihar continues to deepen over the CBI probe against the son and daughter of RJD Chief Lalu Prasad. While the RJD has categorically ruled out the resignation of Tejasvi Yadav over corruption charges, it has also denied any threat to the Grand Alliance. But alliance partner JDU is likely to take a call on the matter after its national executive meeting in Delhi this month.
ना हमारी चिंतन में, ना हमारे मंथन में, ना हमारी चिंताओं में इस पर कोई जिक्र भी नहीं हुआ. तो जिस बात का सारे अफसाने में जिक्र न था, वही बात आपको नागवार गुजर रही है हुजूर. ये तो कहीं हमारी चिंता में नहीं है कि 11 अशोक रोड सीबीआई, आईटी और ईडी का नया पता है कि 11 अशोक रोड मोदी जी, अमित शाह जी चाहते हैं कि हम राजनीतिक लड़ाई नहीं जीत पा रहे हैं लालू प्रसाद और तेजस्वी से, तो इस्तीफा दे दें. ये कौन सी बात है?
Matters peaked earlier this week with the RJD chief meeting his MLAs and blaming the BJP for carrying out a campaign of vendetta against his family. Facing a belligerent RJD, the JDU is reaching out to the Congress to convince the RJD to soften its stand.
हमारा गठबंधन सफलतापूर्वक चल रहा है, बिहार के विकास कार्यों में संलग्न है, भ्रष्टाचार को लेकर के और नैतिक मूल्यों की रखवाली को लेकर के जरूर मुख्यमंत्री जी ने वक्तव्य दिया है, जो जनता दल यू समेत महागठबंधन के सभी विधायकों और सांसदों और मंत्रियों पर लागू होता है.
The BJP is also mulling its options. It has stepped up the pressure on the JDU to drop Tejasvi from the cabinet.
मेरी अपेक्षा होगी नीतीश कुमार अगर सुचिता और ईमानदारी से अपनी राजनीति चलाने का दावा करते हैं तो आज उनके उप मुख्यमंत्री के खिलाफ गंभीर आरोप है, संगीन आरोप है. इन बातों का उत्तर देना जरूरी है कि क्या किसी को होटल दिया गया और बड़ी जमीन पुरस्कार में ली गई नियमों की अवहेलना करके, तो बहुत ही दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है.
At the heart of the political developments are multiple cases of corruption, not only against Lalu Prasad but also his family members, including Tejasvi Yadav, daughter Misa and her husband. Earlier this week, the CBI and the Enforcement Directorate conducted searches at the residence of Lalu Prasad's family over corruption in giving tenders of 2 hotels to a private company when he was railway minister. The CBI has named Lalu Prasad's wife Rabri Devi and Tejasvi among the accused. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, Nagaland Governor P.B. Acharya has once again asked Chief Minister Shirozile Leitsitsu to prove his majority on the floor of the Assembly on or before July 15th. The second directive came after the State Cabinet turned down the earlier one. In a letter addressed to the Chief Minister late last night, the Governor said that Leitsitsu did not deny the claims of T.R. Zeliang that he enjoys the support of 44 MLAs in a House of 59. Acharya said it was not an internal matter of the ruling Naga People's Front as claimed by the Chief Minister. He also said that that from the materials available to him, it prima facie appears that the Chief Minister has lost support of the majority of the Assembly. On the other hand, the Chief Minister revoked the suspension of T.R. Zeliang, who has staked claim to form the government, and 10 others. Zeliang claiming the support of 41 of the 59 MLAs in the Assembly, wrote to the Governor on July 8th for an invitation to form the new NPF-led DAN government. Leitsitsu then dismissed 4 ministers and 11 parliamentary secretaries and suspended them all besides Zeliang from the party. Meanwhile, the flood situation remains grim in the northeast. The death toll rose to 80 across Assam, Manipur and Arunachal Pradesh. Union Minister Kiran Rijiju took stock of the prevailing situation on Thursday and assured all possible central assistance to the states.
The flood situation remains grim in the northeastern states. The death toll has risen to 80 across 58 districts in Assam, Manipur and Arunachal Pradesh. In Assam, rains have affected more than 17 lakh people in 26 of the 35 districts. The Brahmaputra and its tributaries submerged 2,500 villages and destroyed 1.06 lakh hectares of cropland. Around 49 people have lost their lives so far. Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal on Thursday visited flood-affected areas and took stock of the situation. He said that the government was providing all help to the people affected by the deluge.
और रिलीफ कैंप में जो बसे हुए हमारे लोग हैं उनसे मैंने मिला और उनकी जानकारी ली, क्योंकि सरकार की तरफ से जो भी अनाज दिया गया है वो मिला है कि नहीं, तो लोगों ने कहा सही समय पे मिला है और हमारी सरकार की तरफ से जो भी मदद चाहिए हम देने के लिए तैयार है। और हमने आदेश दिया है हर हमारी डिप्टी कमिश्नर को हर जिले का, ताकि जरूरत के मुताबिक आम जनता को मदद किया जाए।
While in Arunachal Pradesh, at least 13 people were killed and 1 feared missing after a landslide triggered by heavy rains hit Papumpare district. A team comprising of the NDRF and police is carrying on rescue and relief operation.
NDRF टीम और पुलिस टीम लोगों ने बहुत काफ़ी मेहनत किया और कोशिश किया। इसमें 13 लोगों को निकाला गया है।
Union Minister Kiren Rijiju also visited flood and landslide affected areas. Rijiju was deputed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to assess the damage caused by heavy rains in the region. First, he undertook an aerial survey of Assam and Arunachal Pradesh and later held a meeting with the district administration officials. Rijiju assured also central assistance to the states.
Very confident that very soon this restoration and rehabilitation process will be over. Yesterday I had a detailed meeting with the Prime Minister and he has asked me to coordinate the entire northeastern region.
NDRF teams are working effectively with district administrations. Meanwhile, Union Minister of State for Development of Northeastern Region Jitendra Singh called Assam Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal and expressed concern over the damage caused by the devastating floods in the state. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
There's a roundup of the other news from across the country and nationwide. The Supreme Court has directed the CBI to constitute a team to probe the Manipur encounter killings. A bench of Justices M.B. Lokur and U.U. Lalit asked the CBI to appoint a team to conduct the probe into the alleged extrajudicial killings by the Army, Assam Rifles and the Manipur Police. The court was hearing a PIL seeking probe and compensation for the alleged 1,528 extrajudicial killings in Manipur from 2000 to 2012. The Mumbai Police Cyber Cell on Friday registered an FIR against Mumbai-based comedy group AIB for posting offensive content on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. On Wednesday, AIB had tweeted a meme about Prime Minister Modi, which they later deleted after criticism on social media. The Supreme Court gave the centre 7 days to clarify within a week its plans to give voting rights to non-residential Indians. The Apex Court also asked if the central government will amend the law or rules for allowing NRIs to vote. The Supreme Court was hearing a batch of petitions on various issues, including if NRIs should be allowed to vote through postal ballot. The Supreme Court has modified its order regarding removal of encroached area near the Haji Ali Shrine in Mumbai. In the latest order, the Apex Court ordered protection of Kinara Mosque near Haji Ali, a portion of which was facing demolition as it was an encroachment. The court also asked the Maharashtra government to decide within a week the plea seeking regularization of Kinara Mosque. Well, the Madras High Moving on, now 2 Israeli police officers were killed in a shooting on Friday in Jerusalem's Old City, just outside one of the world's most important religious sites. The attack took place at a site known to Muslims as the Haram al-Sharif and to Jews as the Temple Mount.
2 Israeli policemen were killed and 1 injured in a shootout near Lions Gate in Jerusalem's Old City on Friday. The attack took place when 3 terrorists opened fire near the highly sensitive holy site of Al-Aqsa in Jerusalem's Old City. All 3 attackers were killed by security forces. 2 rifles, a handgun and a knife were found on the bodies of the attackers.
Just after 7 o'clock this morning at the Lions Gate, we can confirm that there was a terrorist attack that took place. 3 terrorists used an automatic weapon and a knife in and around the area. Our police units responded. All 3 terrorists were shot and killed after our police officers were in a life-threatening situation. The area of the Temple Mount and the Old City is still closed off. We're looking into the identity of those terrorists and where they came in from.
Following the attack, police declared that Friday prayers will not be held at the site that is known to Muslims as the Noble Sanctuary and to Jews as the Temple Mount.
نحن اليوم الجمعة ويجب أن ندخل إلى المسجد لنصلي الجمعة. المسجد الأقصى هو مسجدنا وهو مسجد إسلامي وبالتالي تحت أي ظرف لا يجوز أن نمنع من الوصول إلى المسجد والصلاة في المسجد الأقصى.
Meanwhile, the police cordoned off the area to ensure there are no more weapons there. The incident is the 2nd attack at Jerusalem's Old City in the past 1 month. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
France held the annual Bastille Day parade in Paris on Friday, with US President Donald Trump also in attendance as the French president's guest of honor. This year's celebrations also mark 100 years of the US joining the First World War.
US and French troops marching together through Paris in a double celebration marking 100 years since the United States entered World War I and France's annual Bastille Day holiday. French President Emmanuel Macron opened the parade on the Champs-Élysées by standing in a military jeep surrounded by cavalry. US President Donald Trump sat with Macron through the parade, with the two leaders displaying easy camaraderie. The annual parade also featured a binational flypast of fighter jets. This was a symbol of military cooperation between the two countries in the Middle East and elsewhere. The parade brought to an end Trump's visit to France, seen as also a relationship-building exercise for the US president, who finds himself increasingly friendless internationally due to his stance on free trade and climate change. The visit also somewhat helps Macron boost France's standing on the world stage. This year's Bastille Day is also the first anniversary of the deadly terrorist attack in Nice last year, in which 86 people were killed. After the parade, Macron headed for the Mediterranean city, where he will join a commemoration for those who died when a Tunisian man drove a truck at a crowd on the waterfront a year ago. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, here's a roundup now of the other international news and global buzz. A teenager was arrested following a series of acid attacks in northwest London on Friday. The Metropolitan Police said that the attack left several people with facial injuries, including one with life-changing effects. And the police also appealed for witnesses to come forward for information. Meanwhile, an investigation is on to nab the other attackers. China on Friday lodged diplomatic protests with several countries, including the US, France and Germany, for their reactions over the death of Nobel laureate Liu Xiaobo. It also tried to downplay international condemnation of his government by calling it a domestic affair. Liu, 61, died on Thursday at a Chinese hospital due to liver cancer. He was in custody at a hospital in Shenyang in northeastern China. Iraqi forces started clearing up the war-torn city of Mosul on Friday, which has been reduced into a wasteland of rubble after months of brutal fighting. The old city of Mosul was among the hardest hit areas by the house-to-house fighting, backed by airstrikes, artillery and heavy machine guns used to uproot the Islamic State. Meanwhile, Iraqi forces are also trying to eliminate the last pockets of the IS fighters who fled the old city. The United Nations Refugee Agency said that the core of the European migrant crisis is in Libya and not the Mediterranean Sea, as around 1,400 boat migrants arrived in Italy's Catania port. It also added that the migrants disembarking a Coast Guard ship were part of more than 4,000 people who were plucked from boats in the Mediterranean in the past days. A worker was killed and 10 others injured after a structure on an under-construction highway collapsed near the Pan Island Expressway in Singapore on Friday. After the incident, the authorities temporarily suspended all road and rail construction to carry out safety checks. Engineers responsible for the project were ordered to carry out a detailed investigation into the design and construction quality. And finally, an update from the Wimbledon Championships. The first men's semi-final is currently on between Sam Querrey and Croatian Marin Cilic. Both are going neck and neck in the first set, and the winner of this semi-final will top the list of the most attempts before reaching the final at Wimbledon in the Open era. The other semi-final will be between 7-time champion Roger Federer and 11th seed Thomas Berdych. Meanwhile, India's challenge in the tournament ended after Rohan Bopanna and his Canadian partner Gabriela Dabrowski lost their mixed doubles quarter-final match. 10th seed Indo-Canadian pair lost in 3 sets to Finnish British pair of Henri Continent and Heather Watson 7-6, 6-4, 7-5. In the women's singles, Venus Williams will take on Garbine Muguruza for the title on Saturday. At 37 years of age, Williams is the oldest Grand Slam singles finalist since Martina Navratilova finished runner-up at Wimbledon in 1994. Well, that's it on this newscast. Have a good evening.